Hi, my name is Matt Robinson, and this is a walkthrough of my educational technology portfolio. We'll just start out. I built this site up on the WordPress platform with a plugin, a theme, and several plugins. Up across the top, I have my menu that has the sites, or the pages that I need: the home, goals and philosophy, resume, my work, the AECT paper, and the site tour. The work page has a drop-down menu of all the individual classes that I'm presenting. As we start off on this home page, I created this first little infographic. I took myself a picture, and then I put black and white on the background to make myself kind of stand out a little bit more. This one was made through Adobe Spark and Adobe Photoshop. So here's the video. This is just a quick little introduction video. Hopefully it will get people interested in my site and they'll want to click through and see more about it. I think one of the quotes that really stuck with me that I found during this course was by John Dewey. It said, "If we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow." As teachers, we need to be adaptable and ever-changing to the current environment. We need to teach for tomorrow, basically, not teach for today. If you teach for today, once again, you rob your children of tomorrow. So I think that one really stuck with me through this program. Okay. Hopefully after you watch this video, you're interested in more of what I have on this website. Next is my teaching goals and philosophy. You'll notice a theme throughout this site, and I've seen it as my reflection. That in the beginning, I thought it was more about, educational technology was about teaching technology. But then as I've taken the classes and now I reflect on it, it's more about teaching with technology, or using technology to teach. And you'll see more examples of that throughout the course. Once again, originally, I entered in my master's program with a quote from Jerry Blumgarden: "Tech gives the quietest students a voice." I was one of those students that I was really into computers, and I could do a lot with computers, and that's how I wanted to present my learning. Whether it be a Photoshop or a post a graphic, post a program. Present it that way. I wanted to present stuff that way, and I've taught myself a lot of this computer stuff, these computer skills, and just so I could have that voice. So that was kind of my goal in the beginning. I wanted to give students that voice. I wanted to teach them Photoshop, teach them Illustrator, teach them music production, movie production, all of those things that would give them their voice. And while I still want to do that, when I come to the present and I start reflecting on what I have learned, it's not about teaching Photoshop. It's about teaching what you can do with Photoshop. It's not about teaching GarageBand. It's teaching what you can do with GarageBand. The technology is the tool. It's not the end result. So, once again, I started with the focus on tech gives the quietest student a voice. I end with a quote from George Couros that says, "Technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational." Now, I know I still have several lessons to be learned before I can become a great teacher. However, I think I can, through this program, I can apply that transformational aspect that technology brings to the class. And so that I'm quite thankful for this program. Okay, my resume. I created 2 versions of the resume for this page. The first one, this graphical design, was created in Adobe Illustrator. The links do work on here, and there's to my social media sites and my Twitter, my professional network. I read somewhere that hiring managers only look at resumes for seconds before they make a judgment. Hopefully a graphical resume like this would get their attention first. And then I do have a more detailed resume that you can download if you click on the link below. So that's the more professional resume if you want more information on it. On me, excuse me. Now, this is my work page. I presented my work in a portfolio format. If you hover over them, they do have pop-ups. They have two pop-ups. They have a little eye icon and a link icon. If you click on the eye icon, there's a quick little blurb about what I learned in that class, and then a link to the full page. So, there's 3 different ways to get to my website from this page. You can click on the eye and click on this link, or you can click on the link itself, or you can go up here and go down with the drop-down menu. So there's 3 different ways to get to all the different articles I'm presenting. So let's start taking a deeper look into those. Foundations of EdTech was one of the first classes I took in this program, and one of the assignments that I found quite interesting was the idea of the word cloud. We had to type about what did we think of ed technology was at the beginning of the class and at the end of the class. And when you put these two side by side, it's such a difference, and so amazing what you find. Once again, talking about that theme of going from where I thought education technology was to where I am now is a big change. If you look at this first one, this is the one I did at the beginning of the year, you see technology is the biggest. Students are second, but technology is by far the biggest, and create is probably a close third. I was focusing on using technology to create. But if you look at the end, what I thought educational technology was at the end of the course, it's students learn and learning. So I adjusted my thinking from teaching technology to teaching with technology. And focus on the student is what I learned from this class. Let's look at digital media production. Digital media production was one of the most enjoyable classes I had in this program. We had a blog that we posted a lot of our work on. I produced 3 samples here. I produced the blog itself where you can go look at more, but then I also produced the mini lesson, and then my augmented reality project. That was one of my favorites, and I can't wait to use. So if I click on the blog, I built this blog out of on Google Sites. It's a much simpler program to use, and I have to fight with a WordPress blog sometimes, but Google Sites just works. So I created this first blog on Google Sites, knowing that when it was time for my portfolio, I would come back and create the bigger, more personalized website there. But across the top, we got 51, 53 blog, and this is some of the stuff, the projects that we had. The final project, I chose a Breakout EDU, where students have to solve different locks and get through the game in 45 minutes and all the locks were based on stuff we did. There was a scratch game and the answer was in the scratch game. There was a podcast you had to listen to listen to one of the answers. You can actually play the game through this link with this activity code right there. So here is the augmented reality app, which is one of the coolest things I found, and like I said, I can't wait to use it. If you were to click on it or use your phone to plug in to okay, here's an example of HP. To see the more of the content, is what it would look like.
Mercury, once believed to be 2 separate stars, it is the small.
So as you can see, they pointed at the screen or at a picture, and then all of this extra content would pop up. Once again, I think this is going to be an exciting thing to use in my class, and I am waiting for the right time to pull it out. The other thing I posted for this class was the micro lectures. This is something that I immediately applied to my classes. Teaching math, Eureka Math especially, was really difficult for my students. They needed time to figure out how it worked. So I created this micro lesson. I created micro lessons on every unit and posted it on the website. So at home they could get help with their homework, or their parents could look at it and see how we're doing the math in class. This is one of the things that I took and immediately used in my own classroom. Let's take a look at library networks and databases. This is where we learn to research and how to find research. This one, along with RIMS, were very good classes in search and research ideas. So in library network databases, we learned that some of these networks and databases, you can get thousands or tens of thousands of pieces of information. However, with simple tricks and Boolean search terms such as and or not, or a few other little things you can target your search, and you get better results. It's all about getting quality over quantity. Through my literature analysis, I chose to look at the advantages of a flipped classroom. I have a little video here of the advantages. The main thing I found about the advantages of a flipped classroom that I took from it is differentiation. Differentiation, deeper learning. When you have a flipped classroom environment, number one, students who need the extra help can rewatch the videos as many times as they need, or re-listen to the podcast, however you do it, as many times as they need. Now, this frees you up to help students in other areas, or even help those students as well. Because students who get the task or the objective, they don't need to rewatch it or have your help. They can work at their own pace. And also, flipped classrooms create a deeper learning. One of the things is that the studies found that I researched, was that when you learn the basics at home, you can learn much more interesting or much more deeper learning at school. The teacher is there to teach you the more complex parts of the unit, and because the basics have already been taken care of. So here is that paper if you would like to read through it. Video games and simulations in the classroom. This was one of my favorite projects that we've done through the class, and I think honestly most innovative. I had been teaching robotics with these little robots right here. I had been looking for a new way to incorporate them into class, and so I came up with this idea of we would send this robot to Mars, or there would be a simulated Mars environment in a classroom, and the robots would have little cameras attached, and they would act like the rover would on the Martian surface. You had to program it. It wasn't a remote control where you could just push forward on the control stick and it would go forward. You had to program it, and it would run its program. Then you had to figure out where it was and run it again. I think this would lead to much more complex thinking for my students, and it would keep them very interested in the project. This project, I created a quick little introduction for my class. When I do present this to class, I will complete this, make it a little bit better. This was a Creative Commons background I found. And then I have the letter to Mission Control. This would be the introduction letter that I give to the commander. And the commander would have 3 other people on his team. He would have a rover engineer who was responsible for designing the robot and building the robot. There would be a pilot who would be responsible for programming the robot and moving the robot. And there would be a mission specialist who would be responsible for learning about Mars and what rock they were looking for, what they were looking for on the Martian surface. Some of the gamification units we had, as the mission commander progressed, he would keep getting more stars. as rover engineer progressed in his unit, he would get more chevrons. The pilot would get more green chevrons, and mission specialist would get more blue chevrons. The first task would be, as their group, would be creating mission patches. Something that I thought was really cool as a kid, when that each shuttle had their own shuttle patch. So each team here would have their own patch. In this class, we learned about the Octalysis model and the 8 stages. 8 core mechanics, sorry. So I have those all listed out and how those applied to this game, or to this unit. So you can read about it there. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Instructional design is the class where I felt I got the most out of, or really had a deep impact in my learning. Instructional analysis looked at the idea of how we base what we teach, how we set up what we teach. We learned about the ADDIE model, the analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. So we learned how we took the big idea and put it into unit form. The project I'm presenting is resolving computer errors. I found in my class that my 5th graders would come to me on a regular basis with simple, basic computer problems. So I created a class on how to solve the basic errors. It wasn't a computer class. It was just kind of how the computers worked and how the checklist for solving errors on the computer. Because most of the time it's something simple of you can't find a file, or you're connecting to the wrong Wi-Fi, some reason Wi-Fi is not working. So after this course, they would have a checklist that they could go through to figure out the problem of their computer. I did implement this course into my learning, into my regular class, and I have to say it did cut down the distractions and the interruptions that some of the students have, preventing me from teaching other students. Here is the course paperwork as we go through the analysis model, each piece. And I'll let you read that. Creativity and innovation. This was one of the last classes I've taken. I took in this course. We looked at what is creative, what is innovative, how can we be more creative. And this course, I presented a project-based learning lesson on taco trucks and entrepreneurship, and what set your taco truck different apart from the others. So, at the end of the unit, the students would go into a Shark Tank scenario where there would be some experts, and they would question the students. The students could create what they wanted to for their taco truck on how to present it. They could present an advertisement, a website, a 3D printed taco truck. I gave it up. I let the students create how they wanted to create their differentiation of their taco truck from the other taco trucks. So you can read through that on there. Advanced computer applications. This one was another class that we actually started our EdTech portfolio. I know it said this is portfolio version 1.0. And again, I used it on Google Slides. Some of the stuff that we did in this class, the projects that we did in this class I really enjoyed, was I used a couple of infographics. This one I presented on how OER, what our open educational resources. At the beginning of the course, we had to introduce ourselves creatively, so I chose a Canva infographic. I liked video games, so I chose this video game one with the 8-bit graphics. We also talked about engagement tools. Here's the app we created. And then the assessment. And then we had to give a video presentation of our website. And finally, last but not least, is curriculum design. This is another one of the final classes I've taken. I took in this program, and this one really tied well with instructional design. And it took the idea from the big idea all the way down to the daily lesson plans. and assigning it to standards. If there was one thing I wanted to get out of this that I thought that I needed to improve on this year as a teacher, would be getting better at aligning my teaching to standards. And this class really helped in that project, in that way. So this first part was a curriculum analysis we did. I teach Eureka Math, and Eureka Math kind of has a negative view right now. So I wanted to take a look at it and see if it was really that bad, or if it was just if it was people not knowing really what they're talking about. And the final project was the complete curriculum unit. And this is another one I designed with my 5th grade students in mind. On the 5th grade tests for the past 2 years, I've noticed 5th graders were struggling with graphs, and reading graphs and getting the information from graphs. So I created a unit that would help them and help them understand graphs and the math that creates them. Their job was, they were scientists, and they were tasked with studying the elk population of Yellowstone after the wolves were reintroduced in 1994. So this broke it down into the overview and what we use an understanding by design model, which I had never learned before, but I thought was really effective, and a model to show how the elks, how the population of the elks, show the elk's population, excuse me. So I think I will use this year in this class, and I think it will be very effective and help them out on the CCT tests. And that is the overview of my work. If you look here, here's one of the graphs we created from the elk and wolf population when we created a model to understand what was happening. As the elk population decreased, or as the wolf population increased, of course, the elk population decreased. And that was what we graphed right here. And finally, the AECT paper. This is my overall reflection on the course and how it aligns with the AECT standards. Once again, I really enjoyed this program, and I think it has made me a better teacher. I'm going to let you read that on your own because it's kind of lengthy. And then finally, here's where I'm going to post this site tour. Once again, overall, I think I built this on WordPress. I think I did. I really like the look and the branding and the message in it. I don't know how many more websites I get to make with OSU colors. So thank you for watching this tour, and thank you.